Hello everyone, I'm Marina Salandy-Brown. I am the founder and director of the NGC Bocas Lit Fest, Trinidad and Tobago's annual literary festival. And I'm here to welcome you to the announcement of the 2020 Johnson and Amoy Achong Caribbean Writers Prize. Normally this prize would be presented during the annual literary festival in Trinidad, which was supposed to be between the 1st and the 3rd of May. But because of the pandemic, we've actually postponed the festival until the middle of September. But here we are on the 1st of May making the announcement because we said we would do so and we wanted to take the writers out of their misery. So here we are in this rather novel format. Of all the prizes in the Caribbean, this one is perhaps the most significant because not only does it reward achievement and talent, but it actually makes a significant contribution to the creation of a new work of literature. This prize is actually sponsored by a philanthropist in Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Achong, and it's administered by the Bocas Lit Fest in Trinidad and by the Avon in United Kingdom. The winner gets $3,000 or the equivalent. It gets mentored by a writer for 1 year, gets a 1-week intensive writing course at one of Avon's internationally renowned literary homes in Britain, gets agented or the chance to be agented by a literary agent in London, and also presents his or her work at a public reading at the Freewood Centre in London. So this is a multifaceted prize and it's a unique prize. So we're very, very thrilled to have had 6 writers emerge in the first round of judging from this year. The 6 writers were Amanda Choo Quan of Trinidad and Tobago, Melissa Doughty of Trinidad and Tobago, Royal Johnson of Guyana, Onika Noel of Trinidad and Tobago, Kim Robinson Walcott of Jamaica, and Amílcar Sanatan of Trinidad and Tobago. At the end of the first round, the judges had a second round and they came up with 3 writers who you're going to hear reading now. You'll get a chance to get to know them and to hear their work, which is ongoing work. And at the end of which, Professor Funso Aiyejina, who's the chair of the judging panel, will announce this year's winner, which is non-fiction.
Hi, my name is Amanda Choo Quan and I am a writer. And I just want to thank all of the other participants and just extend my congratulations to them because writing isn't easy, and I am just excited and proud that we all made it this far. So the essay that I submitted for the award is called It Starts With a Shatter, and it really is just an exploration of the differences in writing between myself and my colleagues that I experienced when I lived and I wrote and I worked in the US. I went to the US to pursue an MFA in a writing program, and I just found that that I was writing from this space, from this modality of like a moral compass. A lot of Caribbean literature and writing that we read, at least traditionally, has been kind of focused on satire, on a morality tale. The sense that, we read so that we can bring order to a disorderly world and to, somehow entertain this fantasy of people getting what they deserve. That feels to me like a very Caribbean space. But when I went to the US, I found that so many of my friends were not informed by this and were writing these sort of like quirky, experimental, loose stories that felt as though there were very few things at stake or nothing at stake politically. And then this was in the context of the last US presidential election when so many things were at stake politically. That's really the context for this particular essay that's part of this collection that I hope to write. It starts with a shatter. Blood comes in different forms. One color for blood which has been satisfied, oxygen filled. The other type still gasping for breath. They both run through us, one red hot, one purple cooled. We record some moments as exemplary. A spike in the EKG of time, a smashed heart, a broken world, but the reality is that we are always gasping for breath. In Los Angeles, there is a pitch lake too. In the middle of the city, near to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, it's a tourist attraction just like ours, albeit with some California shine. There's a sculpture of a family of woolly mammoths rearing their legs in shock as one of its own sinks deeper into the pit. In Trinidad, pitch is alive. People who walk its lake, the largest in the world, our lake, say they can hear it hiss and spit. The primordial muck speaks, choked with either emotion or indigestion. It remembers the time it was forced to move its hand, or rather its clawing, roaring belly, against a tribe of Chemer Indians. The legend goes that they, victorious in battle, stopped at that very spot to celebrate. Head sopping with triumph, they roasted colibri, hummingbirds, and ate them. One by one, the bones and the delicate bodies popped on the fire, the bright blue of their tiny throats charred, the light speed wings stilled forever. They crunched and swallowed, masters of man and diminishers of beautiful things. The muck, disturbed by this, pushed forth. It swallowed the tribe in a matter of seconds. For the spoils of the urgent, erotic present had erased the still-living past. To the Chemer Indians, hummingbirds were sacred as they contained the souls of their ancestors. They had literally been vanquishing themselves. Caribbean people do love their morality tales. Parables are beautifully symmetrical. There are few things more satisfying to us than irony. It's the felling of the too tall tree we like, the redistribution of power. In secondary school, I wrote like Naipaul, for my English exams. I thought stories of checked hubris, of funny, flamboyant usurpers destroyed by the same society who had made them, were perfect. In university, my American writer friends could not understand this. I actually went to art school. Same difference. They weren't writing from Anansi. They're writing for the New Yorker in a strange, morally ambiguous groove that I began to learn characterized the New American short story. I wanted my protagonist punished. I wanted the kind of order I had learned needed to be imposed upon the world, the strike against colonialism, the exposure of the corrupt, to be required reading again. But my colleagues saw those stories, with their predictable forthrightness, boring. To survive in these writing circles, I would have to cultivate a looseness of limb, to casually stroke meanings from life by writing artful flash fiction about a chair or dinosaur, stories in which no one lost and no one won. The stakes were never political, as in the stories I had loved. A culture, a people, a person's soul were never at stake. At my lowest point, I began to wonder if the writing I had loved was a lesser form, since my white classmates were not interested. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Doughty. I grew up in Pleasantville, but I live in Dago Martin now, and I am a reporter with Newsday. The Road I've Walked, the story of Joan Jackson, tells the story of a very good friend of mine from karaoke. We go to karaoke together most of the time, and she would always say to me she wants the story of her life told. She wants to write a book about her life. And when she visited me one Sunday, she sat down and was talking, and I got up and I got my phone and I began recording her. And if you were to line Joan up with 5 other women of her age group and of a similar socioeconomic background, you will find that they share common experiences. And Joan's story might not matter to all of Trinidad and Tobago, might not matter to even a community, but to somebody somewhere it matters. And doing this was my own way of paying respect to women in my life who would have shared similar experiences. And the story is written in a very novelesque way, which makes for easier and more enjoyable reading. And so I will read It's a small, I will read from The Road I've Walked, the story of Joan Jackson. White flowed, the redness staining the purity of white. Hands bundled together, lifting her to take her to the hospital. For 4 days she stayed there, and each day I asked Belle how she was doing. And each day the answer returned the same. She's still bleeding. My 7-year-old heart begged for nothing more than her well-being. To look out of the window and see her smiling again. To look at processions going by and hinging on our hopes on those moments. But she died. On the 4th day, Belle's screams erupted in all of Canaan Village, Tobago. It was the first time I knew the sting of loneliness, a constant visitor throughout my life.
Greetings. My name is Amílcar Sanatan. I am a student, a teacher, an activist interested in cultural geographies, the concept of socio-spatial justice, and overall building communities of peace and solidarity. Today, I will read from a manuscript I've been working on titled For Small Men and Big Boys. The collection of essays illustrates my lived experiences from boyhood to manhood. It explores Caribbean masculinities and the desires and personal disasters associated with gaining and losing respect. Now, I will read an excerpt from the essay, The First Day of School. On the field, skinny chest boys wore their hungry ribs with pride, and the muscular ones who cultivated biceps and abdomens of iron, who were able to propel the mass of their weight in 50 consecutive push-ups, ran between goalposts, shirtless. In the corner of the field, there was a boy under the tree, who slumped in a daze idling, and perhaps was disoriented, whose nickname changed with the imagination of anyone who could command a room with bacchanal. Off the football field, and into the nets, there was a batsman waiting to release, who swore to tame any threat with the force of Kashmir, and swung at bouncers, swung at spin, swung at wide balls, swung without a helmet. There were some who crisscrossed the footballers, cricketers and idlers, and walked casually, talked about adventures of Goku in the Dragon Ball manga series, and budgets to pay for the latest NVIDIA GeForce FX to install on their family computers. In front of me, a group of boys walked in and sat on the edge of the sidewalk. After a few minutes of old talking, one turned around. "Solia, move from behind me." I pretended to ignore what he said. I thought if I moved on the command of another boy on the first day of school, I would forever be moved around in that place. Another boy chimed in. "If that was me, I wouldn't take that talk. Stay right there." The boy who charged first responded to his partner, "Take your time. I would have to beat him up in front of everybody if he jumped out himself, so it's best he just leave." Before me, they discussed the cause. Before me, they discussed the form of violence they would inflict on my body. Before me, they bantered over their authoritative order for me to move, laughing over their threats. Then he turned around. "You better move. I don't want no man behind my head. I don't sit in another man's shadow." I felt coldness take over my body. I walked to 2 pillars lower down. The boys burst into laughter and carried on their socializing, no different from a bowler who has to run his licks, run up and bowl again. On that day, I did not know that 1 week later, I would be cornered into a class and forced to fend off 14 chairs thrown as missiles to my head so that I could have a voice, or sit on the bench, or have other students hail me, acknowledge me on a daily basis in school or at the mall on Saturdays. I did not know I had to fight to determine my own name. When others around me were quick to do the naming, fight to earn position instead of be positioned. Fight to tear off my uniform that turned us all into a field of boys, and fight to assert something bigger than that. The first day of school is a precious memory. It was the day that gave me the deep knowledge of the field I desired to enter, the knuckle taste and currency that exchanged, the choice I had to make on where I stood on the field with boys, old fears, rage, and the wisdom of shadows. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Funso Aiyejina, and I am the Chief Judge for the Johnson and Amoy Achong Caribbean Writers Prize. On behalf of my fellow judges, Get Me Jokes, Andrew Kidd, and Chris Well-Beloved, it is my pleasure to announce the 2020 winner for the genre of creative non-fiction. This year's competition attracted 20 entries from across the Caribbean. Their subject matters range from race and gender through women in cricket, the environment, mental health, religious fundamentalism, and aging to cultural and sexual citizenship. Some of the writers are rigorously academic, complete with footnotes, and others deliberately conversational and personal. However, regardless of their approaches, they are united in their passion for a Caribbean that is built on the similarities and differences that make us human. The finalists are distinguished by the depth of the treatment of their subject matters, their emotional investment, and their narrative sophistication. Though individually unique, they recognize the power of personal narratives. They are neither overtly didactic nor self-consciously academic. Their messages shine through carefully curated stories and ideologies. Melissa Doughty, in The Road I've Walked, invites us into the life of an orphaned girl who finds herself at the mercy of selfish and callous adults. We are summoned into a journey with a socially and economically disadvantaged protagonist whose only weapon is an unbreakable will to succeed. Amanda Choo Quan, in It Starts With a Shatter, sets out to explore the significance of mass emotions in the development of the Caribbean society, occasionally side-glancing towards the Trumpian landscape in the United States of America as a foil to the cultural and psychological landscape of the Caribbean. Amílcar Sanatan, in Disappearing Boys, deploys stories about the formal and informal education of contemporary Caribbean male children to examine the performance of manhood, masculinity, and gender norms. This work is underscored by unspoken conversations between Caribbean child-rearing traditions across generations. This year's winning entry excelled because of the eloquence of the writing, the honesty of the emotions, the concreteness of the imagery, the transformative energy of the story, and the writer's ability to weave the personal and the political, the there and the here, and the then and the now into a seamless story. I thank my fellow judges for their enthusiastic participation in the judging process. and I am happy to announce the 2020 winner as Amanda Choo Quan. Amanda, we congratulate you. Thank you.
I'd like to add my congratulations to the winner, and I would like to say a huge thank you to all the writers who took part, and to congratulate them all, because I know the standard of writing was very high. Alas, there can only be one winner, but we hope that everybody will continue to write, because this is what we're trying to do, to encourage people to write, and we are encouraged because we see some wonderful work coming forward. On behalf of the Bocas Lit Fest team, I would like to thank all the judges, especially Funso Aiyejina, who is the chair of the panel. Of course, massive thanks to Dr. Achong, a rare philanthropist, not just in Trinidad, but I think in the region. This is an extremely important prize, and we're very, very grateful to him. He's become a good friend of the NGC Bocas Lit Fest, and of course, huge thanks to the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, who power the festival and are behind us as we roll out a whole series of important and wonderful program of online events for you over the next few months. And of course, we're looking forward to our physical festival on the 18th to the 20th of September. We hope to see you there in person and virtually as well. So that's all from me for now, but remember that tomorrow we'll be announcing the OCM Bocas Prize for Caribbean Writing, and it will be 10 years. Just as our festival is 10 years, it'll be 10 years this year of a winner of the OCM Bocas Prize, which is a prize for excellence. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow, right here, online.